Good morning, Washington, and all the ships at sea. This is Dave TV for the 2nd of June, 2011. Welcome, and I just wanted to, here's it's to prove that we really are Dave TV. There we are, Dave TV. Okay, I've got some interesting stuff today. Yesterday we were talking about how a guy by the name of Steve Swenson is going to be taking over the reins of CBS's radio cluster here in Washington, which includes WPGC. There we are. Includes WPGC, WLZL, WIAD, PGZL, WID, WJFK, and WHFSAF. Okay. And we're figuring what's going to happen now. This guy, by the way, is somebody who knows all news radio. Okay? He worked at WTOP back in the 90s. He was the general manager, vice president. He's been running two all news stations in New York. CBS AM 880 and WINS 1010. Okay? So he knows a lot about all news radio. The other thing about CBS is CBS runs all news stations or major news talkers in New York, Philadelphia, and Boston. But guess where they don't have any news talkers or all news stations in the megalopolis? Washington. So I think it makes a lot of sense for this guy who's coming down here to think, maybe I'll take one of those FM signals in Washington, because Washington is a heavily FM market, and I'll make it an all news station. Look, here's my rationale. These are the ad revenue figures for last year, 2010. Okay? Look at WTOP. They made over $50 million in ad revenue. 57.2. In fact, WTOP was the top billing station in the whole country. Then you look down here to CBS's PGC was 19.2 million. Look at that. It's not even a third of WTOP. And then you've got WRQX at 16.9, and HUR at 16, and TEM at 14, and KYS at 13 change. And then you go down here to WJFK, another one of the stations that CBS owns, and this is a couple notches down even, 10.5. Look at the revenue difference between WTOP and even number 2. It's like not even close. This big pile of revenue at WTOP is somebody's got to say, we got to go after this. Granted, we may not even knock WTOP out of first place, but if we could just dent their revenue, take a quarter of it, take a third of it, take a third of their revenue, we could be the second highest billing radio station in Washington. You've got Citadel running this kooky old ossified rock format on 105.9. I don't know what they're billing, but it ain't even on the chart here. And they're in a death match with Clear Channel's Big for, we're talking about radio revenue relatively paltry. While here, WTOP is sitting there pretty with this giant pile. It just makes sense. If CBS has any brains, and CBS has a background of doing all news stations. I mean, they know the format. They run all newsers all over the country. They run them in, wherever. They run some of the, KYW in Philly and WINS in New York and BZ in Boston and some major talk stations and stuff. They know the format. All they need is a good signal, and they got a good signal in 94.7. It's kind of underperforming as it is in a three-way death match with Wash and Mix. So, it just makes sense. And, they could do the format cheap. They don't even have to hire a whole staff. They could just do a rip and read format with a 10-minute block repeated 6 times an hour, a couple minutes of news, some traffic, some weather. A couple minutes of news, some traffic, some weather. Pound it out with advertising. That's all you got to do is a 10-minute block every 6 times an hour and do it all. There is a way to do it cheap. You don't need to hire this giant new staff. If you get traffic and weather every 10 minutes, you're halfway there. So I really think if CBS has any sense, and Dan Mason has any brains in his head, the best thing CBS can do is go after, send a torpedo to WTOP. I like the folks that run TOP. Don't get me wrong. I like Jim Farley, Joe Loxley. I think they're wonderful people. I like the folks that work there. It's a great radio station. But it's just sitting there with this giant pile of cash and ratings, and nobody's challenging them for it. Everybody's fighting over this, the silly little diddle audience. You've got 105.9 and 100.3 fighting over this classic rock audience that's insignificant when TOP is sitting there with a giant pile of gold. Look at this wonderful Washington Post. I hate the style section. Why? Well, you got a big change in CBS Radio's management. You got, changes in TV newscasts, a big major anchor shuffle at Channel 9. And, they don't report any of that, right? But what they do tell us here, Katie Couric was seen at a CVS in Arlington, a CVS pharmacy in Arlington, wearing high heels. I mean, that's news. That's news. This is just, it's embarrassing to even think this is news. But that's what the Washington Post covers. Katie Couric, buying some whatever she's buying at least they didn't tell us what she was buying. Feminine product or, maybe she's got hemorrhoids. I don't know. But, Jesus, they should send some of their investigative reporters to look at that. Okay, some radio ratings. Again, we got another batch of radio ratings out yesterday. They're up on the website. This is for the second week of May. Now, an example of something. And I thought I would give you some numbers here. Everybody likes to know what the men are listening to, so here's how men did. 2554 in morning drive for the second week of May 2011. There you go. RQX at 10th, a two-way tie for 8th with Wash and TEM. Hot 99.5 and MZQ at 6th, MMJ at 5th. WAMU, JFK, 3rd. DC 101's Elliott in 2nd, and of course TOP in 1st. And the afternoon, same demo. Male, 2554 afternoon drive. MZQ and LZL and PRS all tied for 8th. Hot 99.5 at 7th. 6 TEM, 5 PGC, 4 HUR, 3 WAMU, 2 JFK's Junks, and they're not Junks, excuse me, it's Arrington and Dukes. We're looking at afternoons here. Duh. One in first place is WTOP. So there we go. By the way, this whole Wiener controversy, man, I'm sick of it. I think it's stupid. It's dumb. The media is just kind of falling all over because it's funny. Here's a guy whose name is Wiener who sent a picture of his wiener around on the internet, allegedly. Funny. Come on, guys. Let's get some real journalism going here and start covering the real news. Like this. Pick these up today over at Best Buy. They've got all the seasons of Weeds, one of my favorite shows of all time, on sale for $11.99 a pop. And I didn't have season 2 and 3 on DVD, so I picked them up. $11.99 a pop at the wonderful Best Buy. So there you go. Love this show. All right, folks. Ultravox. Reap the wild wind. Now, why don't you hear this on the DC radio dial, man? It's a friggin' cool song. That's First Wave there on Sirius XM, my favorite music radio channel. Interesting news. In the Baltimore radio ratings yesterday, 3 station streams actually made the ratings. WIYY stream on the internet, WIN stream, and WBALAM stream. So that's kind of interesting. We're seeing more and more of a trend of of internet streams showing up in the radio ratings. All right, folks, that's Dave TV for today, the 2nd of June, 2011. And don't forget to stay tuned. Wild Wind.